Hello, Homeworks members, and welcome to your 2023 district meeting. I'm Angel McCliggett, and I'm the Employee and Member Engagement Manager at Homeworks. I'm here to serve as your moderator for tonight's virtual event. Before we begin, let's quickly cover our meeting protocol so you know how to participate this evening. You can interact with us during tonight's meeting by using the simple buttons that pop up on your Zoom webinar screen. The first button is Raise Hand. You'll use this button anytime you'd like to make a motion or second a motion tonight. Next up is the Chat button. You can type in the chat box if you'd like to make a comment, nominate yourself or another member for a position, or bring up any matters of business this evening. The Q&A button is to be used if you have a question that you'd like to pose to our CEO. Clicking on this button will bring up a box that allows you to type your question, which we will pass on to Mr. O'Neill for the Q&A session at the end of tonight's event. Our communications manager will be monitoring your comments and questions throughout the evening, and we will be sure to follow up with you afterwards if any of your questions are unable to be answered during the live event. Back to voting. Anytime a motion has been made and seconded this evening, your voting options will pop up directly on your screen for you. Simply click on the button representing the way you would like to vote, and as the votes come in, the polling numbers will show up right there on the screen so everyone can see the results in real time. Moving on, do you have your bingo card ready for tonight? We hope you'll join in the fun during the meeting by listening for keywords and topics and checking off any that you hear us discuss tonight. If you get a vertical, horizontal, or diagonal bingo, write the account holder's name and homework service address on the card and return it to us via mail or email by May 29th. Everyone who turns in a winning bingo card will be placed in a raffle for one of our 3 exciting grand prizes. I also want to remind you that if you'd like, you can follow along with some of the topics we discussed this evening in your digital district meeting booklet, which you should have received by email this afternoon. This helpful booklet can also be accessed at homeworks.org/D4booklet. And finally, as always, be sure to stay logged on until the end of this meeting so you don't miss out on the prize drawings that you were automatically entered in just by attending tonight. We have a lot of great items that we're excited to give away, but you must be present to win, so stay with us. All right, now that you've got the basics down, it's time to get started. Here to officially kick off tonight's meeting is your District 4 Director, Kimber Hansen.
Welcome, District 4. I'm Kimber Hansen, and I am honored that you have entrusted me to represent our district on the Homeworks Tri-County Electric Board of Directors since 2014. As you may know, I have been running to serve another 3-year term in our director election this year, and I appreciate all of you who took the time to cast your vote. Helping to guide the direction of our great cooperative is a responsibility that I take very seriously, and I am so happy to be here with you tonight to update you on the exciting things that have been taking place at Homeworks over the past year. Homeworks has been hosting these district meetings for decades, and it's such an effective way to stay engaged with a co-op we all own. One of the many things that set cooperatives apart from other utilities is that every member has a voice and a vote. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to participate in the democratic process of your cooperative. Did you know our district includes over 3,400 members residing or receiving service in Montcalm County? I'm proud to have been a Homeworks member for 30 years now in Edmore, where I live with my wife, Kavita. Homeworks sure has come a long way in those 30 years, and the co-op has come even further in the 86 years since it was funded by farmers in Eaton, Ingham, and Jackson counties to bring electricity to their unserved rural areas. As you know, we are repeating that history today by bringing reliable, high-speed fiber internet to rural areas of mid-Michigan that other providers have often refused to serve. CEO Chris O'Neill will tell you all about that and several other exciting co-op projects a bit later. But first, we have some co-op business to conduct tonight, in addition to electrifying your board in addition to electing your board representative every 3 years. As you did this year, you also elect district officers each May. They include our district chair, Lisa Johnson from Lakeview, who will conduct our brief business meeting in just a few minutes. Our district vice chair is Glenn Keebler from Six Lakes, and our secretary is Elaine Rossman from Lakeview. Thank you, Lisa, Glenn, and Elaine, for your service to our district. Again, I am thrilled to be with you here tonight, and I am so happy to have so many of our District 4 members engaging with the co-op in this format. I've said it before, but having informed member owners really does make Homeworks a stronger cooperative. I want to close by thanking you again for allowing me the honor of serving as your district director. Now, please welcome CEO Chris O'Neill.
Thank you, Director Hanson. District 4 members, welcome to your 2023 live-streamed virtual district meeting. I'm Chris O'Neill. Many of you know me as I have served in several different capacities on the Homeworks team for over 20 years. I took over as your CEO in 2020, and I want to echo Director Hanson in saying that it is my great privilege and honor to serve you. I'm so happy to have you here with us tonight. The democratic process is one of the founding principles that sets co-ops apart from other types of utilities, and Homeworks depends on members like you who are willing to be involved and informed. Plus, I'm very excited to update you on the things that have been happening at Homeworks over the past year. I think you're really going to enjoy the informative co-op update that we put together for tonight's meeting. We'll hit on several timely and important topics after our brief business meeting this evening. First, though, I want to quickly highlight another thing that really sets co-ops apart, which is our community outreach. We tried to do all that we can to make a positive impact for the people who live within our service footprint, especially those people who are in need. One of the most important ways we try to fulfill that goal at Homeworks is through our Tri-County People Fund. Our People Fund has granted over $2.6 million to families and organizations throughout our service territory since 1993. Recent People Fund grants supporting our neighbors in need in this area include contributions to the Lakeview Community Schools PTO to provide backpacks for students in need, and to 5 Montcalm County families for help with housing and utility expenses. Our People Fund is made possible by those of you who voluntarily round up your monthly electric bill to the nearest dollar as part of Operation Roundup, and we want to sincerely thank you. Our People Fund board of 7 volunteers, one from each one of our districts, works very hard to make sure each grant request is considered with care. Here in District 4, your People Fund director is Lisa Johnson. We certainly thank Lisa and her fellow board members for all of the time and compassion they put into this worthy cause. In addition to the People Fund, we have a couple other community programs that help to make a big difference locally as well. This year, we made Touchstone Energy classroom technology grants to several local classrooms, including a grant here in District 4 to Great Lakes Adventist School for an interactive smartboard to help students learn. We also awarded $1,000 Touchstone Energy college scholarships to 12 very deserving high school students whose households are served by our electric lines to help them further their education. We love any opportunity to support our local students and teachers. Recently, with the help of a matching grant program offered by one of our lenders, CoBank, we were able to donate $10,000 apiece to the LC Baby Pantry and the I Am Kids Third Meal in Fenwick to help them make an impact for children and families in our service area. We try to support local families and organizations as often as we can because as a co-op, we're committed to enhancing the quality of life in the communities that we serve. There's a reason for that. We don't answer to faraway investors, and our directors and employees all live right here in your neighborhoods. In fact, myself and many of our employees are Homeworks members. Like you, we're truly invested in rural mid-Michigan. You might remember that last year we told you about a new employee volunteer program we started to give our employees an opportunity to engage their communities and help make a difference for their neighbors. True to form, our employees have embraced that program and helped it grow exponentially in the past year. We thought you might enjoy seeing a glimpse of how they're making a difference throughout our service area, so we put together a quick video highlighting some of our volunteers.
Our community outreach program was implemented as a way for our HomeWorks employees to engage within our local communities through volunteer work.
The program is important for the company to implement because it does recognize the individual employees for the time that they give to their communities. It also lets the communities know what we're doing for them. As a cooperative and member-owned, that's important for them to understand what our role is here.
So I volunteer within the HomeWorks blood drives. I've also went to the Portland Middle School and taught them a little bit about HomeWorks and what we do and how they can get involved within our cooperative. I've also been to a couple career fairs doing the same.
Yeah, I grew up in Portland, went through the volleyball program all through high school, and I saw people helping out when I was a player, so I thought maybe when I get older, I'll do that too.
We also were able to donate to St. Jude's over $5,000, and to be able to write that check to them and send that to them, it meant a lot.
So many individuals or organizations need help. You see the need and you see how appreciative they are of you helping, and it can't help but make you feel good.
So part of the cooperative principles is concern and care for community, and we recognized that we had a whole slew of employees that were out volunteering, giving their time, money, whatever they could in their local communities. So we thought it was time for us to start recognizing it.
Each month, our employees submit a Google form with how many volunteer hours that they have done that month. And then with our Touchstone Energy funds, we have purchased little rewards. So, for example, when they reach 5 hours, they get a little koozie cup as an incentive, as a thank you for volunteering within our community.
HomeWorks is such a great organization that is so diverse in helping people, individuals, schools, nonprofits. They make it so easy for us to do that. It makes you feel good about working for HomeWorks Tri-County.
The HomeWorks board, staff, and you, our members, truly do care for the communities we serve. And I think that comes through in everything that we do. Thank you for embodying the cooperative spirit and helping us make a difference year in and year out. Another way we embrace the cooperative spirit is through our legislative advocacy on your behalf. We've hosted several Michigan state senators and representatives at our facilities over the past year, and I visited with many others in Lansing to foster relationships and advocate for rural co-op members. Advocacy regarding issues affecting rural America and our local communities, including broadband access, electric reliability, power supply, easements, and more, is an important aspect of being an electric co-op. And you can be sure that we will always maintain our commitment to using our voice to speak for you. All right. Just one more quick update before we start your business meeting. You have told us that you overwhelmingly prefer the virtual format for district meetings, and we're happy to oblige that with these webinars. We still want to have an opportunity to engage with you in person though, so we've developed a new event called HomeWorks Park Parties, which will kick off this summer. This will be a fun, informal, open house style event where you can drop by with a family, enjoy some ice cream on us, and talk to our staff directly about any co-op questions you may have. Your park party will take place the afternoon of August 3rd at Curtis Park in Edmore. We'll send you an invitation with more details in the mail as the event nears. We hope you'll be able to join us. Your annual meeting is also back in person this year, taking place Saturday, August 19th at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Mount Pleasant. If you opted to serve as an annual meeting delegate when you registered for this meeting, you'll receive more information on that in the mail in the coming months as the meeting date gets closer. All right, I'll be back with a pre-recorded operations update for you in just a few minutes. First, you need to conduct your annual business meeting. Your district chair, Lisa Johnson, will now come up to conduct this portion of tonight's proceedings. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening. Thank you, Chris. I'm Lisa Johnson, and I have served as your district chair for several years now. HomeWorks Executive Assistant Michelle Hoon just informed me that we do have a quorum with 93 member households in attendance tonight. Thank you for your taking the time to be here. Let's start our business meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. Thank you. Now we'll have our secretary, Elaine Rossman, take care of our next agenda item.
Thank you, Lisa. The notice of the meeting, proof of mailing, and 2022 minutes are on pages 4 and 5 of your district meeting booklet. I'm going to make a motion that we dispense with the reading of these and accept them as presented. Lisa?
Thank you, Elaine. Can I get a second to that motion? Our moderator tells me we have a motion and a second to accept the notice of meeting, the proof of mailing, and the minutes from our last meeting as presented. Please vote on this motion using the polling on your screen now. Thank you. Motion carried. When you registered to attend this meeting, you were asked if you wanted to be invited as a delegate to Homeworks annual meeting in August. Those of us who signed up to go to serve as 2023 annual meeting. Delegates are listed on page 7 of your district meeting booklet. I move that we dispense with the reading of the delegates and accept the list as presented. Can I get a second? It has been moved and seconded and to approve the delegates as presented. Please vote now using the functions on your screen. Motion carried. If there is anyone here tonight who is not already on the list but is interested in being invited as a delegate to the annual meeting this year, please contact Homeworks Executive Assistant Michelle Hoon at the email address or phone number on the screen now. Mr. O'Neill, please come forward for the election of district officers.
Thank you, Lisa. First, let me remind you what your volunteer district officers do for your cooperative. The chair runs the annual membership meeting, as Lisa is doing here tonight. The vice chair steps in if the chair is not available. The secretary reads the notice of mailing and calls for approval of the minutes from the previous year's meeting, as Elaine did this evening. Every 3 years, the officers also serve as the nominating committee when your district's board seat comes up for election. That was their job this year. Your district chair is Lisa Johnson. Lisa has indicated that she is willing to serve another term in this position if elected. Is there a nomination to nominate Lisa Johnson? We have a motion. Is there a second? We do have a second to nominate Lisa Johnson. Are there any other nominations from the floor for district chair? If not, let's put it to a vote. Please use the polling buttons on your screen now. Thank you. Lisa Johnson has been re-elected as your district chair. Your district vice chair is Glenn Keebler. Glenn has indicated he would agree to serve as district vice chair again. Is there a motion to nominate Glenn Keebler? We have a motion. Is there a second? Thank you. We have a motion and a second to nominate Glenn Keebler. Are there any other nominations from the floor? If not, let's go ahead and vote for your vice chair position now. The motion is carried and Glenn Keebler has been re-elected as vice chair. Your district secretary is Elaine Rossman. Elaine has indicated that she would agree to serve as district secretary again. Is there a motion to nominate Elaine Rossman? It looks like we have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Are there any nominations from the floor for district secretary? If not, let's vote for your district secretary position. Please use the polling buttons on your screen now and place your vote. The motion is carried. Elaine Rossman has been re-elected as your district secretary. Congratulations and thanks to all of you. Now I will turn it back over to Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Is there any other business to come before this district? If not, I will accept a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Is there a second? Moved and seconded to adjourn. Please vote using the polling buttons on your screen now. Thank you. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Now I'll hand it over to our Cooperative Counsel, Dan Templin, for our election report. Welcome, Dan.
Good evening, Lisa. As chair of District 4, Lisa also served on the district nominating committee this year, along with Vice Chair Glenn Keebler and Secretary Elaine Rossman. This year, we introduced a convenient new electronic voting option to go along with our traditional mail-in ballot. To begin the election process, a notice was printed in the January issue of Country Lines magazine, informing members of the election for the Board of Directors seat this year. It also stated who the nominating committee is and what the qualifications are to serve as director of your cooperative. The nominating committee accepted suggestions for qualified candidates from any member in the district. By February 4, the nominations had to be submitted to the office of the cooperative for verification. This year, your nominees were challenger Jake Borton of Vestaburg and incumbent director Kimber Hansen of Edmore. The nomination report was posted in a public place at the cooperative offices so members could see this nomination. Nominations by petition were accepted until February 21, in case someone decided to nominate themselves or a neighbor. There were no nominations by petition. An email went out to the members on April 4th announcing the opening of balloting and providing instructions on the electronic voting format. The nominations and candidates' biographies were also published in the April issue of Country Lines, along with a mail ballot and an envelope addressed to an independent balloting firm. Members were told they could vote by mail before May 2nd. Tonight, we have a sealed envelope with the mail balloting results provided by an independent balloting firm. These results also include the electronic balloting. I will now announce the election results. The results of the election are a tie between Jake Borton and Kimber Hansen. 358 valid ballots were cast, with Mr. Borton and Mr. Hansen each receiving 179 votes. At this time, I cannot announce, obviously, a winner of District 4 Director election, but will defer to the balance of tonight's meeting while we discern with the nominating committee a procedure to resolve the tie vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our district officers and all members who voted in our director election and in the business meeting tonight. Now we'll move on to the co-op update portion of our meeting. CEO Chris O'Neill has pre-recorded an informative update for you. And at the conclusion of the briefing, Chris will be back here live in person to answer your questions. Remember to use the Q&A box at any time to enter any questions that you would like to pose to Chris. Now sit back and enjoy Chris's co-op update.
Hello, Homeworks members. You just finished up your business meeting, which is one of the main reasons we ask you to attend your district meetings each year. You're not just a customer of Homeworks Tri-County Electric, you're a member and an owner of the co-op. So it's crucial that you have the opportunity to participate and engage in the democratic process. Another important reason we invite you to your district meetings is to provide you with a look behind the scenes at your co-op's operations and the projects we've undertaken on your behalf over the past year. There's a lot to touch on here, so let's get started. First off, you probably noticed that I'm coming to you today from the truck garage in our Portland office. I'm out here because this is one of the areas that represents the heart of what we do, which is to hit the road running every day to provide you with reliable services that enhance your quality of life. Between our two offices in Portland and Blanchard, we have 106 employees, and I can tell you with no hesitation that every one of them is committed to going above and beyond the call of duty to serve you. Did you know that the electric operations employees who drive these trucks out of this garage every day helped provide you with power that is 99.95% reliable last year? As a member-owner co-op, that doesn't have to answer to investors or meet any arbitrary profit margins. We're able to invest in the type of regular system maintenance and upgrades that prevent outages before they happen. And when storms come in and outages do occur, these trucks hit the road immediately, and our employees work to restore your power safely, quickly, and efficiently. In fact, we recently received our 2023 Michigan Public Service Commission Standards Report, which measures our performance in areas like how quickly we restore your outages, answer your calls, and more. While large electric utilities in our state regularly struggle to meet these standards set forth by the MPSC, I'm proud to say that our 2023 report shows that we far exceeded those standards in every single category measured. So, if you've noticed sometimes that your lights are on when your neighbors who are serviced by other electric providers still might be in the dark, there's a reason for that reliability. It's the investment we've made in our system and the hard work of our skilled employees who are dedicated to providing you with power you can rely on. Now, it's no surprise that the cost of providing you with electric reliability continues to steadily increase. As a not-for-profit co-op, our electric rates are based solely on the cost of providing you service and nothing more. Unfortunately, the cost of day-to-day operations to run your co-op and the pricing for the equipment, materials, and contractors needed to maintain our electric system have risen exponentially over the past couple years. Because of those increased costs, along with sustained volatility in the power supply market, it is likely that we will be asking our board of directors to consider a rate increase at our July board meeting, which, if approved, would take effect in October of this year. Of course, we will inform you of the details of any rate adjustments before it hits your bill, and I assure you that we will work to keep any increase as minimal as possible to adequately cover our cost and support the financial stability of the co-op we all own. My goal as your CEO is to always be transparent with you, so I wanted to let you know what is likely on the horizon. We've provided a detailed financial report on pages 8 and 9 and 12 and 13 of your district meeting booklet, where you'll see that the co-op continues to experience very slow growth with a net of 248 new active meters in 2022. 2022 energy sales were also up very slightly, with a 1% in kilowatt-hour sales over 2021. You're probably aware that part of being a co-op member means that anytime we have operating margins, that money gets allocated back to you, the members, as capital credits based on your share of electricity purchases during the year. That allocation of margins helps to make up the equity in the co-op. You can see your specific allocation amount noted on your May electric bill. So far, we have returned over $24 million in member equity to you and your neighbors. In March, your board voted to delay the consideration of capital credit retirements until the fourth quarter of this year, when they will review the financial status of the co-op and determine if a retirement is viable at that time. As always, we will keep you updated on the status of any capital credit retirement through our Country Lines magazine and direct mail communications. I mentioned earlier the volatility of the power supply market as a factor in your energy costs. Recently, I sat down with Zach Anderson, Chief Operating Officer of our power supplier, Wolverine Power Cooperative, to talk about the reasons behind that volatility, along with several other very important issues affecting power supply and the electric grid reliability. I want to share our conversation with you now. I think you'll find it very informative. Hi, Zach. Thanks for sitting down with me today and being willing to discuss the important issue of power supply. It's an issue that I've spoke with many members on, and they have a lot of concerns about power supply and the state of the current grid. So let's get right to it. Zach, electric reliability is a hot button issue currently, and Wolverine does an incredible job on behalf of Homeworks and all of its members in securing enough electric supply during peak demand for our members. With that being said, can you please explain to our members how we could still be facing electricity shortages and talking about rolling blackouts while we're talking about having enough supply?
Yeah, it's such a fantastic question, and it's an important issue for our members to understand what's going on out there. And so, to be very clear, Wolverine, on behalf of our members as the generation and transmission co-op that supplies you your power supply, we are an exporter. All seasons, spring, fall, winter, summer, we have enough generation, and in fact a little bit more, meaning we export when demand is highest. The blessing and the curse of the grid, though, is we're all in this big pool together. And so if others, as is increasingly the case, do not have enough generation to meet their maximum demand, we all end up having to sacrifice. And the most painful bit of that sacrifice is literally being forced to have the lights go out with what are known as rolling blackouts. The way that we talk about it, and I think is easiest for people to visualize what's going on, is we're being forced to play a really dangerous game of Jenga. And when I say that, I don't mean to say we're playing a game. This is real life and economic risk. So that's why it's a dangerous game of Jenga. But if you think about it and visualize it this way, if you have a solid Jenga tower at the start of the game and all the blocks are in place, that's really, really strong. And that's where our grid has been for its 100+ years in its history. But now we're being systematically forced to go through a transition that has us pulling out key components of those Jenga blocks, and the tower is becoming less and less stable. So as we retire more and more generation and we can't replace it fast enough, and we're not replacing it with the same resources, meaning weather dependent and intermittent resources like renewables, those are trying to come on too quickly as we pull out those Jenga blocks, and we risk that tower becoming more and more unstable. And unfortunately, that has very serious consequences for all of us.
Absolutely. That provides some wonderful clarity, Zach. For our members who are concerned, can you tell them what the process would be if MISO said that we needed to institute rolling blackouts in order to save the grid?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that we have to plan for. On the plus side is we do have a plan. And so if we are asked to shed load, everyone's being asked to shed load. They don't pick on just rural cooperatives. It's everybody needs to do their fair share to cut back. And so from a practical standpoint, it's a phone call that comes to our Energy Control Center at Wolverine, and then we implement our plan, and we don't know how long it will last, but what we try to do is spread that pain around for the shortest amount of time possible so that one member or one substation in our world isn't bearing the brunt of that pain and that penalty in that situation.
And that's where the term rolling blackouts comes
You're
from.
rolling them around.
Absolutely. Let's transition to another but similar related topic here. Our members at Homeworks hear a lot about our electric reliability and our investment in electric reliability. We provide them with power that is 99.95% reliable, which I think is outstanding. Can you break down for our members how we can be talking about one kind of superior reliability on one hand, but then warning them about the electric grid and other issues on the other? Can you delineate that for us?
Yeah. And I think of it in three key buckets. So you touched on this, Chris. Homeworks and Wolverine have been doing a lot of investment in our systems. So those are the power lines and the substations that serve our members. And so that's one bit of reliability, system reliability. Sure. And that's really strong, almost 100% reliable. Yeah. The next bit of reliability is generation reliability. This is another area where I'm proud to say that Wolverine is a leader in the region in how reliable the power plants that we own and operate on our members' behalf perform under all scenarios. We are far and away better than anyone else at operating our power plants, and that pays off that when they're needed, they will run to support our members, and that's key. So system reliability, generation reliability are the first two. The third is, as we've been talking about, is grid reliability. So we can do what we need to do on our system, we can do what we need to do from a generation standpoint, but then we have to recognize that we're all connected, and that grid reliability is where the challenge lies, and that's outside of our control. So the thing that we're really focused on is communicating on this message and being practical that we want to be leaders in renewables. We want to be leaders in providing affordable power supply, but in doing that, everyone else has to be pulling in the same direction so that we provide highly reliable power from a grid reliability standpoint. So you've got system reliability, generation reliability, and then grid reliability, where we're all in it together. And we need to be an advocate for good grid policy.
Very good. Thank you for that. That was a very detailed explanation on a fairly complex issue, so I appreciate that. Next question here, Zach. Wolverine is a state leader in renewable power, and yet, as we've been talking about, we know we need to advocate for a responsible energy transition to renewables, sort of balancing both cost and reliability metrics along the way. What do you see as the role for renewables being now, and maybe what the role changes to in the future?
Yeah, so as leaders in renewables, we were the first utility in the state to have a commercial scale wind farm. Co-ops were amongst the first to have community solar programs. We have been leaders in renewables and receive almost 20% of our total energy needs are met by renewables today. And we have an additional 40% of our portfolio that is carbon free. So 60% of the energy supply that we get today is carbon free. And we believe in it, and our members believe in it, and they support it, Absolutely. Even if it costs a little bit more. It's been something that we're proud to be leaders in, and we'll continue to lead into the future in adding more and more renewables to our long-term power supply mix. But we have to also recognize we need to do that while being responsible and keeping the lights on 24/7, 365, because if we don't, it has real economic, and unfortunately, it can be life-threatening for cold weather events like we have in Michigan. It can be so cold that it can be deadly for people. And so we take these things very seriously, thinking long-term to be as decarbonized as possible while keeping the lights on 24/7, 365.
And that's an incredible balance that you do strike. And so, Zach, thank you for sitting down with us today. You provided some great information to our members on power supply, an issue that I know really resonates with them, especially currently when costs are going up. And there's a lot in the news about power supply and potential rolling blackouts. So One thing I will say is we definitely appreciate everything that Wolverine does on behalf of our members, especially to provide them with safe, reliable, and affordable power supply. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
There are a lot of complex issues there, and I appreciate Zach sitting with me to break them down for you from a power supply perspective. One thing Zach mentioned quite a bit was carbon-free and renewable energy. You might not know that we offer a great renewable energy program for our members with 3 different levels of participation. We also offer a robust energy optimization program to help you save money by integrating beneficial electrification and energy efficiency measures at your home. Last year, the program helped our members to save over $107,000 and over 832,000 kilowatt hours. I encourage you to take a minute to check out our EO page at homeworks.org/EO to learn more about our rebates and incentives. Next up, let's move into some very exciting news on our Homeworks Connect fiber internet project. I'm thrilled to report that just this month, we've completed our fiber network build-out to our entire membership. That's over 2,100 miles of fiber line built over the past 5 years as part of this $94 million investment in delivering reliable, high-speed internet across our rural mid-Michigan footprint. You might remember that it was May of 2018 when we officially undertook this project and made the commitment to our board to complete our mainline construction within 5 years. I could not be more proud of the fact that despite the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic and other obstacles along the way, we have met that commitment. We are still finishing up our fiber splicing in parts of our northern service territory, so our fiber service is not available to every single member home just yet. But we are very close to reaching everyone. To celebrate this momentous completion of our network construction and everything this project means for our cooperative, our members, and the communities we serve, we put together a quick video on the project that I think you'll enjoy.
Everybody here has been affected by this fiber build. And the difference between this and all the other business ventures I've been involved in is it actually involved the entire organization. For bringing broadband out into the rural areas, it brings that same passion back to the organization. You see people being re-energized because we're doing something that's everybody wants.
We first talked about it at the district meetings, and the membership was in favor of us going out and borrowing the money and doing the broadband business. At that point there, we had taken information from the senior management that had done the investigations on what it would take and how much money we would have to borrow and what type of timeline we would have. And that's where it started just about 5 years ago.
Who would have thought that in 2018, when we started this, considering a 5-year journey to build out fiber to all of our customers, that we would have COVID. We still managed to catch back up again, and we're actually going to finish the project, well, by the way I look at it, about 4 months early.
Those were quite trying times, but we just kept persevering. Everybody on the staff, everybody in the building, all of our employees and stuff just have worked their butt off to get this thing done. We all know as board members who did the work, and that was the employees here at Homeworks.
I feel really proud to be a part of the fiber team because it is such an exciting, seemingly life-changing service that we offer. So it is great to know that I'm a part of something bigger than myself.
People don't realize how much of business takes place over the internet today, how important it is for business to have a high-speed internet.
You know what, as a business owner, having fiber internet, it takes away a lot of the uncertainty. We would have a lot of problems losing our phones. We would have a lot of problem losing credit card authorizations. When you have unreliable internet, it affects everything from day-to-day operations.
The members are very appreciative of the service. Many of them say it's the best service that they've ever had. Super easy to get in contact with someone at the office, where a lot of other companies, you get someone from a different country, like we're in your backyard.
I work for companies that are all around the world. You know, these are software companies that have offices everywhere. When I am in a Teams meeting or something online, They always ask me about my internet because it just never drops. It just seems so crisp. And I said, you know what? I live in the middle of nowhere and I have the fastest internet in any place in the world that I've ever lived. Nothing has been as fast as the internet that I have in Portland, Michigan.
Anybody that has the possibility of using our broadband should really do it, because I've been in business for 40 years myself, and this is a very well-run company that runs almost like a family business where people really care about our members. I believe they will go beyond what is called from them to do the job.
That gives you chills. The project has made our electric system more reliable than ever, provided economic growth opportunities for the co-op that will benefit every member, and delivered life-changing broadband access to our rural service territory. Over 9,000 HomeWorks members and counting are subscribed to HomeWorks Connect, and we continue to hear very positive feedback about the unmatched speeds and reliability. And now, with the completion of our build-out to our membership, we're beginning to embrace the opportunity to expand our network to neighboring non-member areas as well. For example, you might have seen our recent announcement about our exciting partnership with the City of Portland to bring our fiber internet service to city residents and businesses. Partnerships like this one help us to continue our mission to improve the quality of life in our local communities with reliable broadband access, while also providing economic benefits to our co-op and our entire membership. So we're excited to pursue these new opportunities. If you're not a HomeWorks Connect customer yet, and you're looking to upgrade your home internet or phone service, please give our fiber team a call or visit join.homeworksconnect.org. We'd love to connect with you. Moving on, another great service we offer at your co-op is Tri-County Propane. For over 24 years, our crews have done an exceptional job of delivering great value to customers in our area with highly dependable propane at competitive prices, even in the midst of a very volatile fuel market of late. This year, our propane team has worked very hard to integrate a new software that is improving our delivery efficiencies and helping us provide even better service to our customers in the field. In the office, too, our experienced and highly trained propane customer service team continues to work to provide an incredible level of service beyond compare. With great options like 24-hour service, a budget plan, autofill and metered service, and outstanding reliability, I'm very proud of the exceptional service Tri-County Propane continues to deliver each year. So that was a quick look at the past year for your co-op. As you can see, we've been busy, and it's been another productive year of exciting growth, change, and opportunity. Our employees work very hard every day to make you their priority, and throughout the rest of this year and beyond, I can promise you that we will always maintain that commitment to you and providing you with safe, reliable, and affordable utility services that enhance your quality of life.
Thank you, members of District 4. Again, my name is Dan Templin. I am Corporate Counsel. The district officers who are in attendance tonight, along with myself, under the bylaws of your cooperative, constitute the Credentials and Elections Committee. That committee met during this intermission and also met with Director Hanson and Mr. Borton, and a determination of how to resolve the tie was achieved. Both gentlemen graciously consented to the proverbial pick a number out of the hat. As a consequence, Mr. Borton is your new incumbent or newly elected director for District 4. He will be taking his seat at the annual meeting on August 19 of the annual meeting of the cooperative. Gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with both of you. I think you have demonstrated the best of this cooperative, and members of District 4, you are well served. Now I will ask Mr. Borton to say a few words to his constituency. Thank you.
Thank you, District 4 members. First and foremost, I want to thank you, the owners and participants of this election for the cooperative. I also want to thank Kimber Hansen and his family, his father, who was actually the district chair before him. And I want to thank both of them for the tremendous service and for many, many years of service to Tri-County Electric Cooperative. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to serve you, the members, and I look forward to working and doing my due diligence to make sure that we are in good standings with the cooperative. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, Kimber, and Jake, and congratulations, Mr. Borton. Now Chris is back here live to answer some of your questions before wrapping up with the most exciting part of the night, our prize giveaways. If you have a question that you would like our CEO to try to address tonight, please type it in using the Q&A button. We received a few questions from attendees prior to tonight's meeting during the registration process, so Chris will answer those now.
Thank you, District 4 members, and thank you, Angel. We have a number of questions, approximately 10, that were submitted during the pre-registration process. Some of them are duplicate, but I'm going to handle those first, and then we'll go ahead and handle the ones that came in tonight. So the first question is, what is the availability charge? So on the HomeWorks bills, there are two different categories that make up the majority of your energy bill, which is a fixed charge known as the availability charge, and then an energy charge or a kilowatt hour charge for typically residential homes and businesses. That availability charge represents your fixed cost or fixed investment in the co-op. So those costs that the co-op has incurred on behalf of its members don't go away when you don't use energy. So even before we deliver energy to your location, the co-op incurs those costs on your behalf. So when you think of that, what is fixed cost? It's a little ambiguous, but if you can picture the poles, the wires, the transformers, the meters, the equipment that's needed to deliver the energy represents that availability charge. And because we're a not-for-profit electric cooperative, all of those costs need to be covered by the membership regardless of whether they use energy or not. And so it represents the members' share in the cooperative's fixed costs. The next question here is, can you speak about clean energy goals and plans to meet some of those goals? I can't speak to other utilities goals. All I can speak to are the goals for Wolverine and the Wolverine family, of which HomeWorks is a member owner. And Wolverine really has 4 to 5 different pillars on which they look at providing power supply. One of those is decarbonization, and so there's affordability, there's reliability, there's impact to community, and there's decarbonization. And when we look at whether we're building our own assets or whether we're going to go out to the market and buy a purchase power agreement, we measure each opportunity through that lens. And so at the moment, I'm proud to say that your co-op is providing electricity that is north of 20% renewable and 60% carbon-free, which is outstanding. We are the leader in the state of Michigan, and I'm very proud of that, and you should be also. And we are making strategic decisions on a constant basis to increase that, with the goal to eventually decarbonize completely. But before we can decarbonize completely, we need to meet those other metrics of affordability and reliability and do it responsibly over time. And so that's really the focus of the co-op and its power supply portfolio and its partnership with Wolverine. Can you talk about cost and efficiency? This one's a little bit vague, but I'll go ahead and handle sort of the cost and the cost pressures that the co-op's experiencing. Currently, and over the last couple years, the co-op is experiencing a rise in labor and material costs that are far exceeding its increase in sales, meaning that it's getting additional cost pressures that it didn't have prior that members need to cover because of our not-for-profit arrangement. And so the co-op's trying to defer those costs, trying to deploy technology to make us more efficient in deferring some of those costs. But at the end of the day, the market costs that are external to the organization do eventually affect rates. And so we can be very efficient, but as labor and material increase, those costs get passed along to our members, and that's something that we take very seriously and work very hard at controlling. Next question here is, Do you have fiber at my house? I'm unsure on that one. There's a couple fiber questions. When will we have fiber internet in our area? All of District 4 has access to the Cooperative's broadband state-of-the-art fiber optic network. And currently, the entire service territory has been completely built out with mainline fiber. Now we have quite a bit of demand, and so we have a backlog in actually constructing the service drops or the service connections running from that main line to the home. But we have increased our production capacity with our contractors, and we expect to advance the amount of connections each week further and further until we get to everyone. And so I hope that answers the question. Happy to talk about that further offline if you have a specific issue or something we need to pay attention to for you. Next question here is, how can we balance the ongoing problem of adding electric demand to the grid for consistent power, rolling blackouts, electric vehicles? And so this is truly the essence of a lot of the advocacy that we're doing in Lansing, is that the math problem of demand and supply has to work. And it not only does it have to work, we have to have a reserve of supply in case we have a generator go offline, that we can still meet member demand in the most critical moments. So in those moments where it's extreme temperatures in the summertime, but especially in those moments where it's deadly cold throughout the winter. And so we are working with legislators, regulators. We are trying to make sure that not only Wolverine and Homeworks have enough capacity, but that those that we're interconnected to in the MISO footprint, the independent system operator footprint, have been responsible partners and have capacity for their own, and they have a reserve in case we do have a generator malfunction during some of those extreme weather events. So it is a balance, and that is something that we're talking about constantly with our legislators currently. I can't tell you that we're in a good spot at the moment. Right now, Michigan is a net importer, and we are in a dangerous spot that if we are importing during those extreme weather conditions and a generator outside of our state goes down, we could very likely see rolling blackouts in that situation. Next question here is, what personal solar rebates or perks do you offer? So we don't necessarily offer solar rebates or incentives. What we do is we have three distinct and separate solar offerings. The first one is a community solar offering that we offer. All of the co-ops and Wolverine have solar on premise, and we actually sell panels to members so they don't have to make that large investment at their property. So when they purchase a panel, they get to enjoy a credit on their bill for that individual panel's production. And so that helps avoid the upfront cost, the large upfront cost of doing solar at home, and but also allow members the option to participate in renewable energy. The next option that we have is a net metering option, where essentially we would have a meter that would show both delivered and received energy, and we would bill the difference and or provide a credit at wholesale for the difference. And we actually do wholesale plus is the pricing that we use for energy that's sold back through that net metering situation. The final program that we have with regards to solar is what's called a buy all, sell all. And these are typically for larger solar arrays. So think larger than 20 kW. And in those situations, the solar generator purchases all of its energy needs through the co-op, but also sells all of its energy production through the co-op. And so those are the three different arrangements currently, but we are looking at other solar options as the market evolves, and possibly solar options that are market-based, actually. So look for that in the future. Next question here is, why hasn't propane pricing come down? And kind of the real issue behind that is the market, the retail market hasn't come down quite yet. So our data shows that the retail market hasn't come down, and the wholesale market has been a little bit slow to come down also. In fact, in 1 week recently, the wholesale market went up about 6.5%, in 1 day. So it's we're expecting that to fall a little bit over the summer, and we're hoping that we can offer that to you as the pricing does come down across the market. Next question here is, why are there so many internet outages? And I guess I'm going to handle this one in two different ways. If you're having repeated internet outages that are unexpected at your home and you have Homeworks service, that is abnormal. And we would like to talk with you on that specifically. So if you're having that locally at your home, repeated internet outages, we want you to call the office because we want to offer a premium, absolute premium service to you. And we've built a state-of-the-art system to do so. So if you're having that issue, please call in. The other way you could take this is with regards to our maintenance outages. And those are really related to the speed at which the network is growing. So as the network expands, as more members subscribe to the service, we need to add additional equipment into the service to accommodate them. And so that is one of the principal reasons that you're seeing maintenance outages in early times of the morning where our trends show that our network is being used the lightest as to not interrupt critical times when members are using that network. Next question here is, I'm wondering about windmills, how safe are they? And I'm going to admit here, I am not a qualified individual to answer that question, but I can tell you this. Wind turbines, especially large ones in the state of Michigan, have a very stringent zoning and permitting process. And in fact, it's so stringent that in many cases, putting new wind turbines up in Michigan is extremely difficult when compared to other forms of renewable generation, such as solar. I'm going to go ahead and transition from the pre-registration questions into some of the questions that were brought on tonight. So, will those of us who have not yet gotten fiber get service before those members who are in the city of Portland? And that answer is absolutely. That is our intent. And so we have moved our mainline contractors into the city of Portland, and we've done that because the labor market is extremely tight. If we did not move them and keep them working, we would have lost them. But we have upped the capacity of our service drop contractors in order to get our members connected as quickly as possible. Next question here is, I love the fiber, but I think when it goes out, just like when we have a power outage, we should get a credit for our time it is out. And so the members have actually voted on outage credits back in 2014, and they decided that because they're a not-for-profit co-op, they didn't want to subsidize each other with outage credits. And so the members have made a deliberate decision in that regard that they don't provide outage credits to each other. And so the cooperative has simply taken that cue from its membership. Next question here is, I do not have a problem with a minimum charge for my meter if I'm not using much electricity, but why am I being charged an availability charge on top of my $150+ electric bill? So again, two different buckets. One is covering the fixed cost associated with the poles, the wires, and the transformers and meters just to serve your location. The other one is the actual energy and the fuel delivery and the generation that occurs in order to create the electrons for you to consume. And so really two different buckets, two different cost drivers, and that's why they're billed separately. Final one here is, how does Homeworks feel about me adding solar to my home and running their meter backwards? And so I guess I'll take this question as being a tad lighthearted because first and foremost, the cooperative's meters, unless programmed properly, are unable to run backwards. That is a theft mitigation mechanism that the cooperative deployed years ago as a point of technology. Secondarily, any generation that is behind the meter requires a isolation mechanism as to not kill or injure a utility worker working on that system. And so that is actually a law in the state of Michigan and something we take very seriously. And so that's the way I would answer that. We've got a couple more here and we'll go ahead and handle those. Wow. What is your youth tour? Good question. Our youth tour is something that we do for high school students in our area. We advertise it through our Michigan Country Lines, and we partner with our statewide organization, MECA, and the other co-ops in the state to send high school students to Washington, D.C. to hear from legislators and to learn about co-ops. And so it's a wonderful experience and something that we publicize because we want participation, we want applicants in that program. We think it is life-changing for those young adults. Next question here. If a member is considered low income, why do they have to contribute to the low income fund? Great question. So the low income fund, as it's set up by the state of Michigan, applies to all meters, meaning that the low income, if we opt in or opt out, if the board decides that on an annual basis to opt in or opt out, that meter charge is applied to all meters as a course of that program. And so it's really arbitrary as far as how it's applied. Next question here is, what is a pay-as-you-go service? A pay-as-you-go is really a prepaid service where you would have one of our meters and that meter would measure the amount of electricity that you use, but instead of back billing it, you would actually put a credit on that account. You would use up that electricity, and when you got to a certain point of using up that credit, you would get a notice to put additional funds onto that account in order to continue sort of a prepaid metering scenario. Many members enjoy that across the country. We've seen a little bit of slow adoption, but in other areas of the country, it has become wildly popular. And members have become much more attuned to their energy usage using a prepaid program, and that is something that your co-op offers. And so if you're interested, feel free to give us a call if you're interested in trying it. If a member is considered low, okay, we already read that one. I think we've made it through them all at this point. So thank you for the insightful questions. If I didn't get to your question, please know we have it noted and that we're going to contact you and follow up with you individually to address your concern. To conclude, let me say thank you all for your attendance at tonight's virtual district meeting. Now, let's give away some big prizes. Executive Assistant Michelle Hoon and Manager of Employee and Member Engagement, Angel McCliggett, are going to come up now to draw our raffle winners. Good luck.
Thank you, Chris. We have randomly selected our prize winners tonight from a list of people who are in attendance this evening. Let's get started. First up, we have a Shark robot vacuum, and the winner of that is Jim Wood. Congratulations, Jim. The next item we're going to give away this evening is a smart clock with a charging station. This looks pretty cool.
It does.
And the winner of this is Jamie Stutzman. Sorry if I didn't say that quite right. Our next prize we're going to give away this evening is an Arctic 30 can cooler. That winner is Tyler Rasmussen.
And then we have a Samsung earbuds for Mary Robinson. And Bose wireless speaker, Lori Anderson. A Ring doorbell for Nakota Jennings.
We always like to give back to the community and support local businesses. So we're going to give away two $50 gift cards to local businesses. The first one is for Farm Country Cheese in Lakeview. $50 is going to go to Lori Parcher.
I love Farm Country Cheese.
Yes, me too. Would you like to give away the other gift card?
Sure. We're going to do $50 to Leona's. Is that right, Michelle?
Yes.
Leona's Restaurant in Vesterberg to Becky Souls.
Congratulations. We're also going to give away this evening some $100 gift cards to Meijer. You can always use a Meijer gift card.
Right.
The first winner this evening is for Tim Stratton, and the second one is for Pat Kidwell. We also have some $50 gift cards for Meijer as well. That first winner is for Samantha Buck and Michelle Evans.
And then we have a $100 gas gift card to Susan Young. And then two $50 gas gift cards. One goes to Barbara Megan Gask. I think you gave me the hard one on purpose, Michelle. And Cindy Zellinger.
And then we always like to give away some bill credits for our HomeWorks members. So we're going to give away 4 $50 gift or bill credits tonight. The first one is for Bill Bessemer. Then we have Donna Schiller, Mike Valenti. See, I got hard ones too.
You did.
And Randy Hogue.
And then the last we have are some $25 HomeWorks bill credits. First one up is Bonnie Johnson. I don't think that's right. Johansson. Yep. Teresa Bloom, Brianna Bonga, Stacy Foster. Thank you for having an easy name, Stacy. Brian Puffpath. All right. And that's it for our prizes this evening. Thank you so much for attending, and we hope you enjoyed your district meeting. If you want a bill credit this evening, it will be placed on your account in the coming days. If you want a gift card, we will mail it to you. And if you want another prize, Michelle will be calling you to make plans to get it to you. If you got a bingo tonight, make sure to turn in your card by May 29th to be entered for one of the grand prizes.
Thank you to all of you, and have a great night.
Have a good night.